I wanted to talk about the concept of trust, trustworthiness, truth, as it relates to to the people who are put in so-called positions of trust and trustworthiness nowadays. And of course I'm talking about government, talking about media, and I'm talking about various organizations where the trust of the public is cultivated. Could be religions, could be NGOs, could be corporations, but particularly those places where they place an emphasis on trust and where they try to get the public to trust them. And I think you can see nowadays that you look around and you have no idea who to trust anymore. I'm not even talking about personal relationships where the people in your life are constantly lying to you, even those close to you. In a lot of cases, even your spouses are lying to you. And it's so sad that in a world where we depend on the interrelationships between us, where as people we are supposed to relate to each other, and where you can trust somebody to an extent, whether they make a promise to you or whether they do business with you, you should be able to trust the terms of that relationship. And it's no longer the case. It's actually become even the norm for spouses to cheat on their spouses. I'm repeating myself, and it's gotten to the point where people have come to expect that they cannot rely on anybody. On some level, I think everyone knows that nobody's word is to be trusted. No one's promise is to be trusted. They know words will fall by the wayside. They know promises will be broken. And that is the sad state of things. And that is why contracts have gotten to be so ridiculously long, because people are trying to defend themselves against all sorts of situations that may arise, whether the other party won't respect their word. And of course it doesn't work. Now, I don't want you to get the wrong idea when I talk about the lack of trust between spouses when it comes to me. Because I am one of the fortunate ones who has a spouse they can trust, a wife on whom I can rely, who speaks the truth to me, who stands by my side, as all spouses should. That should be the norm, but it isn't anymore. So don't worry about me, I'm fine. I'm worried about you. But to get back to those who demand our trust, who ask for it, who often state unequivocally that we can trust them. You know where I'm going with this, right? Don't you believe them. And the point, I think, well, one of the takeaways that I want you to get from this video is this, and that is that our world has unfortunately been built on lies and on a manipulation of the truth, on seeming truths. The truth is not the truth, is what I'm trying to say. There is the lie, which can be spotted with a bit of evidence, and then there's the seeming truth, which is set up in opposition to the lie. So if you get that this is a lie, you then revert back to the seeming truth, which is not the truth. It is a seeming truth. It could be a half-truth, could be a partial truth, could be not truth at all. But you tend to revert because we think in this dualistic way where we're taught from a young age that there's a falsehood, there's the truth. So therefore, if the falsehood is proven to be false, the truth remains, and that is the truth. And that is not the truth. In today's world, the truth is not the truth anymore. That's one of the takeaways that I hope you'll get. How do you discover what the truth is? I can feel you asking me. What is the truth then? Good luck discovering it on your own. We're each meant to have that journey. What is the truth? What are the things that ring most true to each of us? It's part of our life's journey to uncover those truths. And some are saying, well, the truth is the truth is the truth. Yes, some truths are that self-evident. But then again, some truths aren't. Some truths only appeal to certain people. Other people may choose to reject them or to function on a different set of truths, criteria, or principles of life. And I don't want to go down that path right now because we still don't know what those truths are. Most of those truths are still hidden to us. We're still on the path of, is this false? Is this the truth? But we're looking at the falsehood and the seeming truth. We're not even looking at the truth. So as a humanity, as a human race, we're still so far away from the truth that there's no point in having a discussion about the truth. We're still trying to figure out where the lies are. So it is unfortunate that we are here, but we are here. So there's a term called controlled opposition that applies to politics. It's a newer term, and it actually means the same thing as controlling both sides of the issue. And This is something that came into being, into play, whatever you want to call it, when the idea of democracy was introduced. Because, of course, we don't live in real democracies. That would be silly. Silly by today's standards, or silly by the standards of this old establishment that is dissolving away, that each of us needs to wish it to dissolve away. That's part of the homework that we have to do as a human race. And when the idea of democracy was introduced, and you can look at Greek democracy if you want, although that idea of democracy isn't the idea of democracy that we have in today's world. And I could talk about the differences, which are significant, although there are other videos on the subject that are available on YouTube, so you don't have to have me talk about it. But when this idea of democracy was introduced in recent times, the last few hundreds of years, the apparent problem of the establishment was that it needed to control both sides of the issue, or to make sure that the power wasn't taken away from them. And the only way to do that was to control both sides. Now, you can have just two sides, which is a system that we have in the States, or you can have multiple sides. It really doesn't matter. As long as the establishment controls enough people from each of those sides, it's fine. It can get the quorum or the majority that it needs for the votes that are cast or for the decisions that are made. And the agenda moves forward. People are happy that they live in a democracy when in fact it's just controlled. It's all controlled. So if you look at what goes on in the States now, for example, let's look at the two-party system. You have the opposition, which these days is mostly the Republicans, who are screaming at the top of their lungs every time the Democrats do something. And they're going, oh, we're going to fix it if we come into power. This is unacceptable. Blah, 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 blah. You know, they all shake their jowly, fat faces at the camera. Unbelievable, I can't believe this is happening. And the great United States of America, blah, 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 right. And of course, as soon as they come into power, what do? They don't reverse the stuff that the Democrats put in place. They just hold the status quo, giving people the impression that the bad things aren't happening anymore. And then, of course, in 4 years or 8 years, the Democrats come into power again, and then they move the agenda further left field. And then the Republicans again go, unbelievable. And they do the same thing. And the agenda, meanwhile, keeps moving slowly but surely to the left. That's controlled opposition. And it's actually so easy to be an opposition leader, an opposition politician. It's actually the preferred modus vivendi, the way of life of most politicians, because you don't really have to do anything as an opposition politician. What you do is you just go and you go, this is what you do. You give interviews and you shake your fist and your finger to the camera. I'm going to vote against this. And that's all you do. That's it. You get your nice fat salary. You enjoy all the perks and benefits. Meanwhile, you meet back at the club with all of the friends from the other side of the field. And you laugh about, the stupid, gullible population, they're falling for the shit. And the agenda keeps moving in the direction that it needs to be moving. That's the two-party system. I already went briefly into how a multi-party system works, but it's pretty much the same thing with just multiple parties. You have the ruling party or the ruling coalition, right? They move the agenda, the opposition from multiple parties goes, blah, 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 right? And still the agenda keeps moving. They give the impression of opposition, they give the impression of debate, of discussion, of resistance, when in fact there is no resistance, there is no opposition. It's all just a big joke on you. Bottoms up. Let's look at controlled opposition in the debate with what's going on in the States with tons of other issues. I don't want to get into names, but with all of the great big discussions around critical race theory, and with the transhuman agenda and the transgender agenda, you have people who spring up who are in opposition to this. They're very articulate. They're very good at talking about it, at presenting the problem from the seemingly truthful side of things. They're very good at that. And yet, in spite of all the debate, in spite of all the talking about it, in spite of all that, what you see is the agenda keeps moving forward, keeps moving left to whatever direction you want to paint it as moving towards. Doesn't really matter, it's left or right, it's still moving. That's the point, it's still advancing. And so you begin to realize as you look at these situations over and over and over and over that all of the talking about it accomplishes nothing. It just gives you, the human being, who is in actual opposition to all of this shit that's being pushed on you, an opportunity to vent as you listen to this controlled opposition. It just, finally somebody speaks the truth. Finally somebody talks about my side of things, right? And you go, somebody's got the ball, somebody's doing something about this. When in reality, nobody's doing anything about it. They're just talking about it. They're giving you the impression that there's some opposition, when in reality there is no opposition. I want you to get this. I want this to be a takeaway from this video for you. One of the criteria that you can use to spot the controlled opposition is the amount of coverage they get in the mainstream media, right? Because I talked about this in previous videos where I said pretty much anybody who gets major coverage in the mainstream media is part of the establishment. There can be no other way. You simply do not get coverage in the mainstream media if you're not part of the establishment. It just doesn't work that way. Because all of the media, mainstream media, is controlled by just a handful of organizations and people who are part of the establishment. And they wouldn't want to hurt their own positions, their own wealth, their own organization, and their own establishment by presenting actually opposing points of view, by doing anything to endanger the stuff that works so well for them. It just will not be. So, if you see any of the controlled opposition in the mainstream media, you know that they've been bought and sold. They're part and parcel of that. It doesn't matter if they speak what seems to be the truth. It can be the truth, it can resonate with you. But as long as it has no real effect on what's going on, then it simply does not matter, does it? And then you see them from time to time when it's important for the establishment that certain points are made. You see them actually ringing in with the establishment. Actually saying the same talking points that all of the other people in the establishment are saying. And then you go, wait a minute, wasn't she part of the opposition? And that's when you're given a glimpse of the actual truth. That's when you realize, or when you should realize that, oh, wait a minute, I see what's going on here. That's when you should realize. But most don't. So, who do you trust? I would say trust no one. Trust no one but your intuition. And if you haven't developed your intuition, if you've been ignoring it all these years, you've got some homework to do, haven't you? Because I don't know who else you can look to for trust. Don't even look to me for trust. I could be wrong about things. I could be manipulated. I don't know. I don't know how, but maybe it's possible. Could be. Sometimes I don't even trust myself. I just go, okay, is my position on this topic sound? Is it what it should be? And then I begin re-examining it from all of the angles to try to figure out, has somebody been screwing with my sense of what's true here? And I don't think it's paranoia, because I don't think I'm paranoid. I hope I'm not, but I don't think I am. My father was a psychiatrist, so I had a chance to learn certain psychiatric concepts and such, and I don't think I am. I don't think it is. I think it's healthy to question yourself. I think it's healthy to question your own sense of reality and your own sense of truth every now and then, because if you become too set in your ways, or too stubborn about your opinion of things, and then you're not really progressing, are you, in life? You're not really learning anything new. You're stagnant in your thinking, and that's not healthy either. I'm not saying that you should be continually changing your stance on things. There are some things in life on which you should be able to rely. Let's call them the rock-solid truths, the immutable truths. Those are the truths that you should work very hard at discovering for yourselves. and know that those truths are the ones that are most under attack in these days. Those truths. Because if the establishment manages to destroy in the minds of men and women their ideas of those truths, then they make them so confused that they don't know left from right, up from down, front from back. And they're more easily manipulated. Another way to tell if somebody perhaps isn't trustworthy is whether they've got a business going, whether they're making money from telling you the truth. Is there some sort of associated business or directly associated business with what they're saying or talking about, a way for them to make money? Because once money comes into play, when it comes to the truth, then you have to start questioning them and their motives, right? Because once money gets into the picture, once somebody finds out that they can be so much more comfortable if they just bend this truth a little, or bend that truth a little, or maybe squash down that truth and push this forward. If the price is right, they will definitely do it. It's human nature. I don't know if there's anybody that can resist a whole bunch of money being thrown at them. And sure, that amount of money may be a lot higher for some other people, but make no mistake about it. If they've established a certain amount of trust with their audience, and if they have a wide enough audience, I don't care how high that amount of money is, the establishment has enough resources to throw that amount of money and 10 times more at them, just to get them to bend a little or bend a little more. It will happen. With me, for example, if you look at my videos, the videos in this series, which I've added to a playlist called Thoughts on Current Affairs. I couldn't come up with a better title, but so the videos in this series that I'm making here, even though I am a YouTube partner, I've been for a number of years, I decided not to monetize these videos. And so for every single one of these videos, I've indicated to YouTube that I do not want to make money from them. I don't know if YouTube is showing you ads when you see these videos, but know that if they're showing you ads, I am not making a cent from those things. Also, if you look at my videos, these videos, I'm not selling a goddamn thing, right? I'm not even selling t-shirts or whatever. I'm not selling anything. I'm not asking you to give me money. I'm not asking you to contribute to any causes. I'm not. And I'm doing that not only, well, for two reasons. One, if I were choosing to monetize these videos, the very things that I'm talking about in these videos would trigger YouTube's various rules, and my videos would get flagged, and who knows what the heck would happen. So I just want to avoid that situation entirely. Second, I do not want to give you the impression that I'm making these videos to make money. I'm not. I'm fortunate enough to have a good life. My wife and I have been blessed. So we have a decent life. We have what we believe to be a good life. And so I'm not in a position where I have to make money from my videos. It's nice if I do, but I don't have to. And particularly from these videos, I do not want to make money because I do not want to be influenced in any way or to have you think that I'm influenced in any way. Now, I'm not telling you these things so you can begin to consider me a trustworthy source. Like I said, you have to examine every single one of the things that's presented to you with your own intuition to discover whether it is truth or not. And intuition may not be enough for some things. You have to educate yourself. And this is why I keep talking about doing your homework every day, informing yourself, learning about these things as much as possible, the various topics that are out there, whether it's personal development, whether it's what governments really are doing with the power that we've given them and with the money that we've given them, with the universe, the way it works, with other races of beings that are out there, not just us, with nature, with energy, with the way we're supposed to be living our lives, with what we should and should not believe in. Do your homework. Do your homework. You can use your intuition as you read and learn about these things to see if what those people are saying resonates as true with you. If it does, keep going, keep reading, spend your time. The moment it starts to sound untrue to you, stop and re-examine it. It's the best advice I can give you. So yeah, definitely look at what I'm saying with a critical eye. Listen with a critical ear. Use your intuition. See if it rings true with you. Don't just believe me. Don't just take what I say wholeheartedly. I could be wrong, right? I could be wrong about things. I'm not saying that I have the absolute truths. Still trying to find them. Still trying to find them. And perhaps another thing I should say is that, the funny thing about some people is that they don't necessarily want to make money. They just want to be perceived as right. They just want to be the ones that presented the truth to you or were believed by you. It's the same phenomenon that you see with some so-called celebs these days, celebrities, right? Celebs that would rather just be famous than rich, which I think is absolute idiocy, because being famous comes with such a price tag on your head. You lose so many things when you're famous, that doing it just for the sake of it, just for the notoriety, just for the attention is utterly stupid. At the very least, if you're doing it, you should damn well be rich from it. Okay? But some people, that's the way they are. They just prefer to be the ones getting the attention. They don't care about the money so much. And they can be controlled even easier. All you have to do is just promise them a bit of attention, and boom, you got them in the palm of your hand. So you have to watch out for those people too. Because they'll be more than eager to present you with information that gets them attention. They present it as true, they present it as right, when in actuality it's just garbage. Could be the truth, right? But mostly it's just garbage. This is why you have to, once again, I keep repeating this, but it's so important. You have to exercise your own intuition. You have to get to the point where you can actually feel your gut speaking to you, right? You have to know it right deep inside here whether something is true or not true. And if you've been ignoring that inner voice until now, you got your homework laid out for you. So, yeah, I think I'm pretty much ready to close the video. I'd like you to look at the people or the sources that you consider trustworthy in your own lives, in the media, in the government, and really examine them, because a lot of them could be controlled opposition. A lot of them could simply be bought. And a lot of them could just be either eager to make money or to garner fame from what they're saying. And you cannot trust them. Yeah. This is the world that we live in. This is the kind of challenge that we're up against. It's an interesting challenge. What is the truth in anything? This is why it's so important to have somebody by your side whom you know that you can at least trust that person, right? Have a husband or a wife on whom you can rely. Because that gives you hope. That gives you a solid footing in life. And if you don't even have that, and that is unfortunately the situation that most people find themselves in, if you don't even have that, you're in a tough spot, particularly in these times. You're in a tough spot. Do your homework. It's your only hope. Do your homework. All right. Thanks for watching. Till next time.